Hello everyone, welcome to another video of SlideScope in association with Colors Tech, and in this video we are talking about DAX queries in Power BI. DAX simply means data analysis expressions. So Power BI is a great tool to analyze data, to visualize data, but in DAX queries you can see you can write these DAX queries in order to create measures. So you can create measures. You can also create columns, and you can do a lot more using the DAX queries. Now DAX queries are very simple to write. If you are familiar with Excel, if you are familiar with Tableau or some kind of calculated field creation, so you can very easily create DAX queries. Even if you are not familiar, then also understanding them is very easy. Now let's see a simple syntax of a DAX query. Let's say we want to create a new measure. So we will write it as sum order details, and then in bracket we will write unit price. So suppose we have a table. Let's visualize a table here. So we have this Northwind data set. Northwind is a sample data set which is very popular for learning SQL queries, and we have downloaded this data set in CSV format. This data set will be provided along with the description of this video, and in this data set you can see we have these tables: categories, customers, employees, employee territories, and so on. These are the tables, and in these tables you can see we have one such table called order details. So in the order details table, as you can see here, we have these columns like order ID. Every order has a unique ID, and in that particular order, which product IDs were ordered, what was the unit price, what was the quantity, and what was the discount. Similarly, you can see the product IDs in this table. So when you will go to the products table, you can see we have these tables like product ID, product name, supplier ID, category ID, and so on. So product ID 1 belongs to chai, 2 belongs to chang, and so on. So here if you combine these two tables, product ID number 11 with unit price 14 was ordered, 12 quantity of these products were ordered in this order ID. So product ID number 11 is this. So now this complete data set, can be imported into Power BI, and then we can analyze it. So we have opened our Power BI desktop here. In our Power BI desktop, you can see we have here we have visualizations, here we have fields, here we have filters. So what type of graph do we want to build is shown here. Filters for users to filter the data when it is presented in a dashboard will be available here, and our data fields will appear here. You can click this particular icon to format your data. This is format your page, like what should be the font size, font color, family, those type of details, like background color, canvas setting. We will see these settings later. We have added an introductory video to Power BI prior to this video, and you can go to that video. You can watch that video to know more about basics of Power BI. But since you are here to learn about DAX, I consider that you already know basics of Power BI. So from here we can get data. First thing is to connect to a data source. Then only we can analyze that data. To connect to a data source, just click on get data and select what type of file you want to connect. Suppose you want to connect an Excel workbook, you can click here. If you want to connect SQL Server, you can click here. Again, we have videos for connection with SQL Server and other sources. In this particular tutorial, we will discuss about connecting with these Microsoft Excel, comma separated values or CSV files. So text slash CSV. From here we will go to desktop. I have simply made a shortcut to my data set so that I can easily navigate, and from here we will connect our order details table. In our order details table you can see this data. Since CSV files do not have any sheet, so you are not getting that option of selecting the sheet here, but you can simply load this data. Once you will load this data, you will see here in the fields column you can see order details. If you want to get more tables, so you can simply click here and you can again choose what type of other data you want. I want same table from this same database and I want the product here. So I have order details, I have product, and I will also include orders here. So you may not necessarily be familiar with this database, but I will share this file with you. I will share this folder with you so that you can first of all analyze, first of all kind of go through this data, like what do you think about this data, what do you think, uh, how the tables are related with each other. So you can see I have prepared various SQL videos also. In my SQL video series I have taught specifically about this data set, because this is very basic data set for understanding relationship between tables, understanding joins between tables. So if you will go through our SQL series, then also you will understand that, particularly in my SQL series we have covered this. So now we have three tables here, and now it's the time to create your DAX query. Now first of all, what we can do here, another thing that is important for beginners. Suppose I click on this table. As soon as I will click on this table, you will see new measure, new column, new table, quick measure. So these are things that are calculated fields in a way. These fields are not primarily present in the original data set, but you can calculate them, you can kind of understand them, you can create them. In the products table you can see this data, and in the order details you can see discount, order ID, and so on, which we already saw. So the simplest way to do or create a DAX query is click on this table and click on new measure. When you will do this, you can see a new measure is appearing here, and let's name this measure as total unit price. So we will write it as total unit price. So we will write it as total unit price. And what will be the total unit price? Let's see, we are not complicating things too much. Total unit price will be sum of this unit price. So we will write sum of, here you will see the table name, which is order details unit price, and just close the bracket. So because sum is a function here, so sum, so this DAX function, then the name of the table in inverted commas, and then name of the column in square brackets. And Now what you can do, you can simply press this check mark here, and when you will do this, you can see a total unit price column is created here. Now let's select this, and as soon as you will select this, you will see a bar graph here. So what is this bar graph showing? This bar graph is actually showing us the total unit price, which is 56500.91, 56,500.91. Now suppose you don't want to show this data, or you don't want this data to appear in as a bar graph. So what you can do, you can go to your build visual tab, and from here you can choose this, a table. So a very small total unit price or something like this is written. So what we can do, we can go to format. So we will select this and a specific column, total unit price, and when you will go to this format tab, you will see values and you will see column headers. Column header is this total unit price. So let's increase its size to 18. So you can see now we can easily see the header. Similarly, we will go to values tab and we can type 18, and now we can see the value also. We can make this size smaller, and this is our total unit price. Suppose we want this data to appear as a bold value, so we can do this. So this is a simple way of formatting your values. Let's create another calculated field. So we have products. Let's count how many products do we have. So we will click on this product table. In the earlier example, we created a measure, we created a new measure using this option, but you can right click here and you can either create a new measure or a new column. Now what is the difference between a new measure and a new column and all of this? This will be discussed later. This is just a basic video explaining how to write your simple DAX queries. We will do a complete series on DAX queries, and there you will learn all the functions and various things that we will discuss under DAX particularly. So let's create another measure by this method, new measure, and let's name it as count products. This is simple count of products. It's a new measure. So here your function is going to be count, then table name. So table name for us is products, and the sorry, because in the products table the product ID is a unique ID for each product. No two products can have the same ID, hence it's a unique column, a primary key. So we can select this, and now another column count products has been created. Now we can select this as well, and similarly we can select table here. Now it is appearing as a small, its font is appearing smaller here. So what we can do, we can select this, we can select both by pressing Ctrl, and we can click this format painter. So let's do this again, format painter. Why is it not happening? So we can click on this table, click on format painter, and you can see this brush right now, and then paste it here. So now this way you can copy the same format style of your previous table. So this is how you can create measures using DAX queries in Power BI. This is a very basic example of doing the same thing, but Later we will learn more advanced queries, and we will learn about more type of DAX functions.